You're listening to the Lux Life Discovered podcast, where we talk with people who are living a lifestyle that reflects their passion, because we believe everyone should be living their best life, their Lux Life. The show is hosted by Rick Steiner with Steiner Event Group, a premier national event planning company, and co-hosted by Shannon Richmond, the Vice President of the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications of future episodes. The show is produced by 30A Media and is broadcast on your favorite podcast outlets, as well as YouTube, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TVs, and other major brand smart TVs.
Hello, I'm Rick Steiner with Steiner Event Group. Welcome to Lux Life Discovered. My co-host is Shannon Richmond from the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce. So
Thanks
Shannon,
for having me again.
Oh, it's always fun. We've got another great guest today. Bartus Taylor from Buzz Events is our guest. So welcome, Bartus.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shannon, for having me.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. As a fellow event planner, it's always fun to talk to other event planners who are doing well and in the business and you do some very nice events, some very large events, but your smaller events are just so spectacular. So that's why I've always been impressed with your work. So I just kind of wanted to talk to you and find out how you got started in the business and go from there.
Sure. Well, Buzz Events I started Buzz Events in, probably 10 years. It's been 10 years now. So I moved here in 2011. There was a need for within the market. There was a need for what I was thinking of doing, which was creating a firm that would help clients or help people navigate all aspects of whatever event that they wanted to do in an aspect of one-stop shop. Not having to drag a client around or having them to go from one appointment to the next, to the next, to the next. So all I wanted to create within a firm was that they could come to us and we could source everything out. Logistically wise, we would run everything, but make sure that they are on board or they understand what they're getting to, like pretty much guiding each client through the whole process of planning whatever event that they wanted to. So that was one thing that was completely lacking in the NWA area when I came in, and I decided, well, this is going to be great. Let me start something off. It was difficult in the beginning, yes, but I was able to gather, good amount of people around me. All it takes is one person to say yes, and then it happened. So.
Well, and that concept, it takes having a great networking of vendors as well.
Yes, absolutely. You go through vendors, you come across some, they will work for a bit, and then later on you realize that they are not what everybody wants. We all have you gotta have clients who have different tastes. So you should be open. I was open to working with different vendors along the way. Some have proven to be very great at what they do and have stayed with us for the past 10 years. So it's great.
Well, so how did people react to your concept when you first came in? Because that's the first time I've heard a planner say, come to me for one source. And
one-stop shop?
Yeah, because that does, I'm always amazed too, kind of another part to what I was going to ask. I'm amazed at planners that are able to work, but they don't go with their clients to meet with vendors or refer vendors. And the clients are still doing that themselves. So, and my question like that is like, why do you have a planner? They're not doing anything, that type thing.
Correct. I was the first to ever do that. Every coordinator of planner that I knew during that time, which was in a lot, it was probably 3 of them, had their clients go to different places. I would see them at the rental company and they would go there by themselves to go pick up everything. And I thought to myself, why not just create a place that you can just, your planner just have everything there. You come in and just say yes, no, and decide from there. It makes everything easy.
Sure.
I think, that at least that's what I think. But when I started that, people loved that because my clients, I would say, have a 9-to-5 job. They go to work, they take a lunch. Some people had to do it on their lunch break. So I never allowed that for them to take an hour because an hour is just not enough to go through the details of an entire day.
Right.
So that for me was important to kind of also schedule with them on the weekends. If I wasn't working, I would make sure that, okay, well, this weekend I'm not doing an event. So are you available to do this on this day? And then have a Saturday or a Sunday open to them, or maybe even, a Monday or a day off of theirs that they can kind of just be in the same place with me. And then we
Right.
can go through all of what
Right.
we need to.
Well, it is, and it also helps free your time and allow you to allocate your energy in a more organized manner because you're not running
Correct.
around doing the same thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that's good. In fact, in Northeast Arkansas, I've started doing our food tasting at a floral shop because it kind of combines taking care of two vendors in one stop.
Correct.
So,
That also work if you're having a a tablescape set out for them
right,
to, this is what you're going to be expecting. So you eat at the table that you probably will still be eating at, during your event. So you get a preview of that.
right.
I remember there was a time that I used to do that, but it became so expensive to be able to pull up a whole tablescape and have all that done for the clients. Now everything is pretty much built, it's technology. You just have everything built online and you can look at it and change linens or glassware or all of that. I think that's pretty much that works effectively as well. Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah. And aren't you amazed too? I'm always amazed. People that still have trouble trying to envision a concept. There are some that know exactly what they want and they're dead set on that. And then there's some that are just like, I have no clue. I don't even know where to start. And they're a challenge.
Okay, but that question, which one's the harder one? The one that knows
Well-
everything they want, or the one that doesn't know everything they want that is leaning to you for everything? Which is the hardest?
Which one do you think is the hardest?
On my end, I don't see it as something that's hard. I see it as we are as planners, I think people come to us for guidance, because I will have a client who knows exactly what she wants. However, we have that idea, that concept may not work because she have not thought through logistical parts of it.
Yeah. Isn't
And
it
it's
funny? Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just saying,
Yes.
isn't it funny how some come to you with just their dead set ideas, and then, like you were talking about, there are certain things that just aren't possible, or they may have selected a venue that's not right for that, that concept.
Yeah.
And then you do the wedding or the event, and it's nothing like you started with originally, but it's better
Correct.
and more efficient for that particular event.
Correct. And then, when going through all of this, I think I always tell people it's very important if you're going to hire a planner, hire them. That's the first person you hire, a planner, before you pick out a venue, before you pick out anything. Let that planner go through all of your inspiration and help guide you to where you need to be, especially when it comes to the aesthetics. I always tell people anybody can fill a room with flowers, can fill the room with whatever it is. But what is that person? All about flowers? What are the details that go in there? Does the space fit the details of their personal lives in there? Or is it just all a whole production? So those are the things that I have to talk through with my clients and make sure that they understand that, yes, this also should reflect you and not what people expect of you.
That's a good point, because that's one thing I always focus on, and we talked about this when we talked on the phone. I want every event that I do in wedding to reflect the personality of the client, and whether it's
Correct.
a wedding, the bride and groom, because I want it to be a day that they enjoy, and that their guests enjoy, and you do a great job with that as well.
Thank you. I listen. The best part here is that I listen to my clients. You have to listen to them. You have to not only listen, but you also have to understand them. Those are two different things. Listening and understanding are two different things. I think some people listen, but they don't understand. So it just goes in a whole nother direction.
Right.
And you also have to have those clients who are willing to see your side. because that's what you're hired for.
True, yeah.
If they knew it all, you would not be sitting with them. So they should see and listen and understand where you're coming from to be able to help them.
So what has been one of the biggest challenges over the years? Is there any particular, without mentioning names, of course, but any particular event or client that was like a challenge that you were just like, wow?
I think there was I don't know whether it was a challenge. I will say it was different. It was different, and it was a learning experience for me. I had a client who was very it went from something small to something that took a life of its own. And that was not what I was expecting, but you go along with it, you try to understand it, and then it becomes, it's weddings are very personal, so people are dealing with different aspects of their lives when it comes to this. It might not be something that has to do with you completely. It might be something that's just you are just on the receiving end of that frustration. And those are
True.
things you have to keep in mind as well. And I, for one, never thought that far in there that I should have probably understood them and probably knew that it was not me. It was the fact that they were going through a lot and the level of frustration that they had. They needed somebody to let it out on. And I just turned out to be the punching bag, which I can't be no one's punching bag.
Somebody did tell me at one time when they were asking me questions for an event that I was doing, they asked me what did I like and what I didn't like. And they said what I didn't like was just as important as what I liked to figure out what we needed to go with, because I sometimes don't have a clue. That's why when you have a planner, you can give them. So is that true? Your dislikes tell you more about what I would like?
Yeah, and obviously, Bartus probably agree with this too. You discover those dislikes usually when they don't tell you anything, and they're like, just plan this. And then you do it, and they're like, well, I don't like that. And you're like, that's why I asked,
We have this thing where we say in a firm here that our client just went rogue. And when they do go rogue, we get a text or email or a phone call from our vendors go, well, your client just reached out to us, and we're going, oh, yeah, we go. And we once that starts to happen, we realize that.
Oh, you know about that.
Yeah.
We start to, that's just when it brings me back to where I have to send them an email and say, okay, listen, this is what you cannot do because you signed an agreement. You should have read it. It specifically says in there that everything goes through us. The reason why that happens is because we try to avoid your quote unquote breakdown in communication. Because if we don't have that information, you just went rogue and took upon yourself to do. If something happens, you can blame us, but we're the planner, so of course you're going to blame us.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's why we tell them, no, you can't do this. And if you're going to do this by any chance, at least keep us in a loop. Don't just take us out completely and we have to hear it from the vendor that you just reach out to them.
Because
so I mean,
at the end of the day, your name's on it. And if they go and do all these things that you had no clue, it's just so hard though not to take the wheel, right?
Well, it is hard for some clients to give up control.
That would be me.
Yeah, that would be you. You're right.
But I go from one spectrum to the other. I'll give up all control and say just plan it.
Yeah.
Like that party we just did, I just said plan it, and it turned out great. I don't know if I expected it or didn't expect it. It turned out wonderful, and I didn't have to do anything, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
Or there's other times that I just want to fight to get what I want, and then you're like, but that doesn't work. This is why it doesn't work.
It's the battle of the wheels.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
It is.
I think what you also give, and when it comes to aesthetic wise, when your client brings up other aesthetics to you and tell you, oh, this is what I love, and all of these things in there, and you're looking at it and you're going, okay, well, this here, well, that's, for me, I always take their inspiration and all the things they want. I take it from them ahead of time because there is nothing worse in my view of telling the client, no, you cannot have this, but don't have an option for them.
Right.
So my job is to make sure if I tell them, no, we can't do this. However, we can do this. So you're presenting them with an option to something that you're just going to probably take off the table. That helps soften the way everything proceeds in there. That way you've covered your tracks in there. So, okay, well, I
Sure.
have
Yeah.
this covered. And then you can pick, with all of what you've presented, there's a huge possibility that they will go with something that you recommended. And, it's great. It's always good to have that compromise in every
Yeah.
step of the
That's true.
way.
And if they feel a part of it, it's going to mesh a lot better, and their whole journey will be goes much more smoothly, and be more productive. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
What's the craziest thing someone's requested and you're like, what?
Let's see. I mean, I would
I
not
knew you
even
had something.
I it's been so long ago. It's been so long. I mean, everything happens now. What I realize is that it's almost I see everything and everything looks the same for some reason. I don't know what it is, but crazy, crazy, crazy. Goodness. I don't know on the top of my head, but I know for a fact that there is something crazy we have done. And I think I walked away from that thinking, well, just when you thought you'd seen it all.
So
But yeah, I know it's somewhere in there.
Okay, if
It
you
might
think
be
about it,
very,
you let me know.
it's very unique. It's very unique that that I think I should remember, but then I've slept since then.
Right, I know that.
So you're in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas area, but you
Yes,
do work all across the country,
correct.
correct? Yeah. And your events are very upscale. And how do you like your imagination and concept and bring it all together? I mean, it's just very impressive.
Thank you. It's a lot of work. A lot of work goes into it. We, like I said, we're a full service. Buzz Events is a full service firm. So invitation designs, we start off with a color palette, and our clients would give it to us and give us their inspiration, their Pinterest board, and all of that. So we take that and create something that's more of them. By meeting with them, by talking to them, you start to understand them, which is important. You're listening to them, understanding them, and making sure that what you are collecting on your end to present to them the next time, it's something that reflects them as well. Going into the whole process and making sure that it's executed. Now, the execution part of that, which is logistically just hard at some point, because you want to make sure that you're going above and beyond to like my friend would call it under promise and over deliver. And
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the one who would always want to over deliver. So it makes my team kind of crazy too, that I would probably look at a table and go, we don't have enough flowers. Give me more. And we would just, do it till I feel like it's all balanced, or give me more candles on the table because I wanted to feel romantic. So those are the things that I kind of go into, and it makes everybody crazy, but it makes me happy. And
It probably makes your client happy
Yeah,
too.
it makes your client happy,
Yeah.
exactly.
but your team is
And
like, okay, that's it.
correct. I remember quite one. There was one day that one of the guests came in the room and they said, "Wow, how long did it take you to light all these candles?" And I remember like 4 or 3 of the girls stood there when they still had lighters and said, "Well, we will say this, our hand hurt." And they started laughing, but it was beautiful, and these are the moments that makes everything special, that makes people want to. That's why I enjoy what I enjoy, because it's about that. It's having passion and just going with it and having a great team. Without a team, it's no way. It's a no-go. You have a great team. I'm pretty hard when it comes to that. And I'm very forward is what I expect, and demand a lot out of them, but they know that it's for the greater good. So
Yeah.
Well, you know how he said in the beginning how you said about the color palettes and you give a palette? That's almost like, because it's one of the biggest decisions they ever make in their life. It sounds to me like when you buy a house, you know how you get a color palette and you do
Yeah.
that? So
correct.
that's probably just as big of a decision, because that's a once in a lifetime thing, a wedding, to do that. Who knew you did all of those things leading up to an event like that? But that's how you know how they like it and what they like.
Absolutely. And it goes in line with playing on with the invitation. So you start from the color palette and the whole thing, and you go from the save the date to the invitation, which most of the time we design in-house. I started all of this because I wanted it to be consistent. I think consistent balance and consistent for me was important through everything that we did. I wanted things to look very synchronized. I wanted it to go smoothly. So there are times where you get invitations from somewhere else and it comes in and you have a whole inspiration and then you realize, oh goodness, we have to
That
now
does, yeah,
tweak things
You
around
know
because
that, right? Yeah.
this doesn't go well with what we've already put together. So then you start moving from there and getting things around it and see how you can tweak it. So we thought, well, listen, we can use everything in-house, which is much more affordable, and go down the line from there. That way we stay in creative control of everything, including
That's
floral.
smart.
yeah, it is.
Just have creative control over all of it. And even with the vendors, how the food is being displayed, what is being, so I mean, literally every aspect of that event. Even sometimes, I don't do it anymore, but like having their dresses cleaned and making sure that it shows up, and the suits are steamed and all of that, like those are things that we would go on and just do. And it's great. It's great to be able to have that service provided for your clients. I think that's what set us apart.
Well, it's that attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
And then that
Yeah.
reflects in your portfolio, your whole persona,
And how the
people
event went down.
Yeah, definitely.
People are going to
And
remember
that's
that.
Sure they will.
Yes, people do. And I tell people, I tell even my staff and everything, I say you have to be memorable. When people leave, they have to remember it. If they don't remember it, you haven't done your job.
True. And you don't want
Yeah.
them to remember anything bad. That's the other
Correct.
part. Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
I
what
know.
it's like with a corporate client, for example. You have to know their color palette, logo, because I did a 20th anniversary for a client in Jonesboro recently. And we had to know their logo because that's the whole colors went around the logo and design, and you had to know the history behind the company.
But I
So
bet you got
yeah.
some that went rogue. I'm going to use that word.
yeah. Oh yeah, we've had the road clients before too. Yes.
Well, because they're thinking, all they have to realize is that you guys are there to help and to tell you what you want, and then you can facilitate that. But then they just get frustrated and they just want their own. Let me just take care of that. But then just threw you out, and now you don't know what's going on.
Correct.
I don't know how you control people in the world like me.
Well, I think
that's why I have her sitting next to me. That's yeah.
We found a solution to that. Is that it's called keeping you on the emails. So you get to be a
Okay.
part. So they're CC'd on every email. Every client that we go, some don't want to. I know for a fact the grooms don't. They're like, no, don't put me on the email. Like absolutely not. But we keep some of them. Some of the emails we ask them, which ones would you like to be added on, and they can pick which one they want to.
And then they
be
just
a
feel
part.
included, so
Yeah.
they feel like they're doing
Correct.
it.
Yeah,
So,
because
yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean that way they can also respond to whatever it is. If we're having a communication, they can go in and say, "Oh, will it be okay if I add this? I just thought about it." And that way I know that they're adding something, and then
Right.
the vendor know that they're adding. So it's just a clear communication all around.
Yeah, it's not just for them to benefit from
It-
that communication, but for you as well in case they do change something. And then
Correct.
you show up the day of the event and they're like, oh, yeah, she contacted me. Or
I'm bringing this in.
Yeah, and you're like,
Right. And I
Nobody
have nowhere to
discussed-
put it.
yeah, and it changes some other aspect of what you planned. So, yeah, so it's really
Correct. So
important.
yes,
But
that's
that
how
does,
we do with you.
Thank
Right.
you.
and that does help you with the clients that are, that want to be involved and say they'll turn over control, but they really don't. But this keeps them involved. So that's really good.
I think that would be a good compromise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
But
that's
yes, everything we do have to be approved by our clients. We don't do anything without their approval because at the end of the day, it's their event and they're the ones paying for it. So I tell them all
Right.
the time, you have to be involved. You have to let us know what you think. You won't hurt my feelings. Like I said, we don't get another take. This is not, we don't get a redo.
Right.
We're doing this
Right.
one. We either get it right the first
Live.
time, or or we're done. It's a scary thing That's why people said it's a very high pressure job that, like it's just constant stress and all of that. I don't feel it. Like I said, I have a good team that we're able to talk through things and talk to our clients and get all the information, sometimes a little bit too much information, but that
Yeah.
comes with it.
Shannon knows a lot about some of my events, and that's why she's laughing, because
Yes.
we've had the rogue clients, the
Oh, yeah.
way too much information
Yeah.
clients, and not enough information. So yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, but it's so fun though.
It is.
It's like every day's a different day. It's just
Yes.
so, not one wedding's the same.
No event. And for Bartus, like myself, surviving COVID and still
Oh, yeah.
being able to do what we do and what we love is really just an honor. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. I sit down every day to even be at 10 years. I mean, that was for me, that was shocking. I never even thought that far. And to look at everything now and seeing how far we've come, how far Boston have come, and along the way there were ups and downs. Of course, it's a business, everybody go through that, but I've been fortunate enough to steer the course and pay attention and keep my head down and do what I needed to do at the time. And and I'm just grateful every day that I'm able to celebrate 10 years. There are people who can't, or who could
Right.
not.
Amazing. Yep.
It's just with the business and how it's done. And I often get asked questions like, how do you do it? I said, because like, what do you not do? I said, that's the problem. I do everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and you're like me, your attention to detail is the key to your success. And that's the way I am. I have to be over everything and know what's going on. I don't like surprises at the last minute, that could totally,
Sabotage your event.
exactly, make everything go south. And so you have to be on top of it. Yeah.
It is. It's true. We and like now we have 2 events this weekend. So I have a team in the office here that's actually working on all of it, but we've been doing this for a long time. Like things are now being organized and
Right.
put into place because there's 2 events. So we want to make sure that each item for that event is perfectly sent to the exact event it's supposed to be at, because they're on opposite side of town.
Well, and also
So
each client, that's their big day, and
Yeah.
that's
They don't want to hear about your other
right.
event. They want to be the only
Correct.
one.
Correct.
So,
And
yeah. There I
am
that's what we
again.
keep in mind. Yes, you
Well,
have to keep that in mind.
That's true. Well, Bartus, thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. I know you're busy, and I'll be in Fayetteville soon in Northwest Arkansas, so I'll definitely touch base, and we'll definitely meet up and introduce ourselves in person. So
Absolutely. I'm by Firehouse Sub. So let's grab a sandwich.
okay, that sounds great.
Nice to meet you.
So tell
Great.
people how to reach you and your email address and website.
Yes, it's Buzz Events Planning and Design. I mean, we're on Facebook, Buzz Events Planning and Design on Facebook. You can find us Instagram at buzzevents.biz. It's the email in there. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty info at Buzz Events is how you can contact us. And yeah, it's just very straightforward.
Okay, well,
We're
thank
on.
you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Rick. And Shannon, thank you for having me.
And I'm Rick Steiner, and that wraps up our episode of Lux Life Discovered. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to look for us on YouTube and click subscribe. See you soon.
Check out Lux Life Discovered on Facebook and Instagram and on 30a.tv. See you next time on Lux Life Discovered.